The best way you can support me is with a simple subscribe. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Mr. TALIAFERRO TV, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Don't just be watching this exclusive content and you ain't subscribed to my channel. Leave. We don't want you here. Listen, man. Everything is starting to come out about this Kyrie Irving situation. I told y'all this. I said it yesterday on my channel. It's all coming out now. Got a story about Derrick Rose coming out soon and Kyrie Irving, how that was connected. And y'all about to get this story right now about how Paul George was connected to Kyrie Irving. Listen, here's the timeline. So I believe July 7th is the day that Kyrie Irving officially told the Cleveland Cavaliers he wants to be traded. I believe they met, Kyrie and the Cleveland Cavaliers owner met in Nevada on July 7th, and that's when Kyrie told them the teams, even though that doesn't matter, but he told them the teams that he would like to be traded to and how he doesn't want to be second fiddle to LeBron James. And I get it. I'm just being honest with you. I get some of it, why he wants to be out of there. LeBron has not told Kyrie Irving or the Cavs any signs to let them believe that he's going to stay after next season. Maybe he does plan on staying next season, but y'all know LeBron James takes pride in maximizing his options and maximizing his potential and as a businessman, everything on a basketball court, everything. Well, Kyrie Irving's a pretty darn good basketball player. A lot of people believe he's a top 10 guy himself. He just doesn't want to sit around and wait. And if LeBron leaves, it's over anyway in Cleveland. So Kyrie's like, this team wasn't built for me. It was built for LeBron. That the team around me doesn't make sense for me unless LeBron's around. So we kind of win in spite because we have LeBron James, not because the team makes a lot of sense, right? Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, these are LeBron's guys. He got them paid. So we fast forward back. Well, let's backtrack first. Let's go to draft night. Let's go around about draft night. Around that time frame when Paul George got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Around that time frame, a few weeks ago. So a lot of people, including self, were like, why did the Indiana Pacers trade Paul George to the Thunder? What was Kevin Pritchard thinking? There were 1,000 deals you would assume for a player of Paul George's caliber that would have been better than Victor Oladipo. Like, what were y'all thinking? And we're starting to get a little clarity to it. Well, not all clarity, but a little bit more. So there was a deal that was done, reported by ESPN. I know y'all don't like when TALIAFERRO reports it. Y'all want to hear it from ESPN. So y'all can go to ESPN and check the sources on it. This is real, though. Paul George to Cleveland. Kevin Love to Denver. Gary Harris and a plethora of picks to Indiana. Honestly, Indiana could have picked pretty much anything off of that Denver Nuggets roster. If they wanted a couple of their young guys, a couple of their forwards, I'm pretty sure it could have happened. If they really wanted any of the Denver Nuggets pieces, including a Kenneth Faried if they wanted them, I'm pretty sure Denver would have gladly given up any of them guys. They were looking for a forward. They ended up with Paul Millsap, but at the time, they were looking for any kind of stretch big to kind of rock with Emmanuel Mudiay. I think Emmanuel Mudiay and Jamal Murray are probably the two only untouchable pieces in Denver. Everybody else is up for grabs. So that was a trade. It was agreed from Cleveland and Denver's perspective. They were ready to pull the trigger. The Pacers had agreed, but they pulled back. So they randomly one day, Kevin Pritchard was like, whoa, Cleveland, Denver, we're not taking this trade. We don't want to trade Paul George to Cleveland. A lot of people believe the Pacers just didn't want to trade Paul George to a division rival in Cleveland, and also a team that they know Paul George is going to be able to compete for championships. Look, if I'm going to lose you in a relationship, if I'm going to lose you, I'm not going to just try to let you get in a great situation if I can help it. I don't want you happy and I'm not happy. So that's what it was. Obviously, the Pacers knew once they traded Paul George, they were going back to the lottery. That's where they're headed now. So they didn't want to trade him to Cleveland and now have to possibly look at him win a championship, kind of like how Kevin Durant won a championship after leaving Oklahoma City. The Thunder had to sit back in June and not only realize that they lost their best player in franchise history, but he left for a better situation. Like, your chick just left you for a dude with more money. That's what just happened. A dude with more money, better conversation, all that. And that is kind of what happened. Nevertheless, Paul George ended up going to the Thunder. I'm pretty sure the Pacers didn't really want to trade him for Victor Oladipo, but I think they were making a statement. So at that point, now Kyrie Irving, who's already unhappy, didn't want to play second fiddle to LeBron James. He really wants to get the hell out of town. Because if you think about it, if they get Paul George in there, I think Kyrie would have probably stayed on board, because I believe LeBron would have convinced Paul George to stay long term. I think Paul George would have been enough to convince LeBron to stay long term. They both would have been free agents after next year. They will be. And I think that's enough to convince each other, hey, we're not going to go anywhere else and find better than what we got in Kyrie Irving. I think that would have been enough. And I think they could have competed with the Golden State Warriors. Do I believe they could have beat them? No, but then you probably could have got a Carmelo out there on the buyout market. Maybe. I think that's enough to say, hey, we got something better here in Cleveland than we'll find anywhere else. Right? And I think that's kind of what put it over the top. The fact that the Paul George trade didn't happen. So Kyrie already wanted out. He didn't want to be second fiddle. I believe in his heart of hearts, he would have tried to make it work with Paul George. Sometimes you just got to put up with the bad in a relationship. If you know there's, like, if you a gold digger, if you a Tatiana, right, and you don't really want to be with the dude you with, but the dude, he about to sign that new deal next off season with that company or with that team, you probably want to hang around. Like if you Kyrie Irving, right, if you know you're not happy in Cleveland, but if you know they about to bring in Paul George and what that's going to do for you from a team standpoint, you know you can't find nothing like that on the open market. You know as bad as Kyrie wants to be the guy, he understands. You bring in Paul George, he fits Kyrie's style of basketball a little better. He can get up and down the court, and that would be Kyrie couldn't say no to that. As bad as Kyrie wants his own team, you couldn't say no to your left you got Paul George, to the right you got LeBron James in transition. That's more of the team that Kyrie wants to play on. And then you get rid of Kevin Love in the process, a slower guy that really doesn't fit Kyrie Irving's style of play. But I mean, it's all coming out now, guys. That's one part of why Kyrie Irving really wants to get out of town. The Cavs' last hope to keep him happy was to get Paul George, and that fell through. And now we're finding out via ESPN that the Cavs had did everything they could to get Paul George. It wasn't their fault that the Pacers just backed out all of a sudden. They were wishy-washy. I mean, they were emotional. They were losing their first love. Like, Paul George was the guy that's been around for the last 7-8 years in Indiana, and they were losing him, and he didn't want to be with them anymore. He wanted to break up. So they made an emotional decision and probably traded Paul George they probably got as bad a deal as you could get for Paul George, right? There were better deals on the table. I do believe that Gary Harris, possibly Kenneth Faried package would have been better, and picks as well would have been better than Victor Oladipo. But to each his own. The Pacers were emotional, and that's what we're left with. And that also has a part. It's not the whole thing. Trust me, the biggest thing is Kyrie doesn't want to play with LeBron James. But that's a little small piece to why Kyrie's so unhappy and why the Cavs, they're probably going to lose Kyrie Irving at some point in the near future.
I want to salute you, homie, you know, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty.